find us if we're up yet.
Ballista. You got it!
I got it.
Yay! That's so exciting.
A lot of pieces. It's like 12 pieces or something.
Yeah, that's a lot of farming.
Yeah.
What did you get?
The critic provisioning station.
Two things
Oh,
I'm
nice.
gonna put in our chat. One is I found out that you can use a ballista to hit the inner postern wall in Cyrodiil from all the way up super far away, and the other one is a whole bunch of dead lore seekers. Yeah. I have not looked at hardly any of this news stuff.
Okay, I need you guys to do some, sing some Linkin Park.
Looked at hardly any of this news stuff. Oh, well, there I am. I haven't looked at hardly any of the news stuff.
I haven't looked at any of it either.
I don't think anybody wants to hear me sing Linkin Park.
I don't want to hear anybody sing Linkin Park.
Not a Linkin Park fan?
I was in middle school.
Oh, dude, don't say that.
Oh no! You're about to lose.
Yeah, I was in high school and saw them in concert when they were just coming out, and I didn't know who they were. They were the opening act, I think, for POD.
Oh
yes, yeah. POD.
I've tried listening to POD again recently.
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much anymore.
Some of their stuff I still like, I guess probably for nostalgia, but anyway, no, I do like Linkin Park, but or at least older Linkin Park. That last album had some good stuff on it, but it was not Linkin Park. Anyway, the reason I said Linkin Park is because of the two different vocalists, and I need to be able to hear you two at the same time because I can't have my headset on and listen to the phone at the same time. So if you guys could just sing some harmonies.
You could just ask us to talk at the same time.
I could.
Yeah, we could do that.
You could.
Yeah,
do that.
we could do that. We could just talk at the same time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna
about
mute,
absolutely nothing.
I'm gonna mute my mic and take my headset off so y'all can do that.
Okay. What do we want to say for him?
We could talk about olives.
Olives. Gross. No.
Still good.
Not good. Yucky. Bleh.
Yeah, I'll just open a can and eat them. So good.
No. Ew. What about pickles?
Pickles are disgusting.
I love pickles.
No.
My kid literally is if he could just live off of pickles, he would live off of pickles.
Yeah.
I guess if we ever have enchiladas together, I'll just have to give you all the black olives, because I don't like black olives.
when we were kids, I think all of my siblings like black olives, but my dad doesn't like them. And so he's like, well, you know what they are, right? I'm like, no. He's like, it's tar. Just rolled up tar off the road and stuck it in a can.
Ew. Super gross.
And then I looked at him and ate one and I was like, yum.
Delicious. Yeah, no. I've never liked olives. Yeah. I didn't even like pickles, actually, when I was younger. Which is weird because my parents used to send cheese sandwiches for lunch for me, but they put like
Nice.
sandwich spread on the cheese sandwich. So it was like cheese sandwich with mayo with that weird relishy stuff in it, which looking back on it actually sounds a little gross. But apparently that's what I liked to have for lunch. So that's what they sent me with was cheese sandwiches. Why? Why?
Oh man.
Weird things that you eat as a kid. I like pickles now, I just didn't then.
No, I've never been a fan of pickles.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
just
trying to think.
vinegar. Ugh.
Yeah. I have a friend who can't even smell vinegar. Like, if you clean your house with anything that's vinegar based, he's like, "Ugh," like it makes him literally want
Oh
to
yeah.
barf.
That's like me. Like my wife did the vinegar, like hair conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
We did the baking soda and vinegar.
Yep.
And I tried it, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna throw up in the shower.
Yeah. No. We used to use white vinegar to mop all the time because you can mop tile with it. It's like one of the best cleaning agents.
My great grandma, she used to keep a spray bottle of vinegar, and when the weeds came up between the cracks in the cement, she'd go out and spray them with vinegar.
Yeah. Vinegar and Dawn mixed together in a spray bottle is a great weed killer. I don't know what it is. Like, I think the Dawn might strip, like, the wax off the leaves or whatever, and then the white vinegar actually just kills everything. You can use it as a clothes stripper, too. Like, I add it to my wash for whites sometimes. Like, white towels or stuff like that. As long as you can stand the smell. But I mean, you don't leave it in there, right? You like wash a regular load or whatever afterwards. But it's a great, like, it'll strip smell, it'll strip.
So,
like,
I don't know if you're talking or not, but if you are talking, you can keep talking, and I'm just going to talk over you so that I can hear what I sound like while I'm talking and you're talking, so I can check and see if they're actually equal or not, because I think I've got you two set pretty close, but if you're too close and I'm way off,
maybe
then
we're
it's going to
just
sound really bad, so if I just keep talking, and you can keep telling me to shut up if you want to, but I'll probably just keep talking anyway, because I don't really mind if people tell me to shut up. I grew up being told to shut up, and I never listened as a kid, and I didn't listen to my teachers, and I was a class clown. I got in trouble all the time for talking, so I'm used to talking over people. It's fine. Also, I have an 11-year-old daughter who I have to fight with sometimes, and sometimes I have to talk over her because she tries to talk over me, and I have to win that battle.
I'm really glad that you took a breath back there a minute ago, because I thought he was going to stroke. I was glad that he took a breath. I was a little concerned for his well-being for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta watch out for those flat nernists.
Hey.
I was literally like, oh no. And then when he posted the thing about the Todd Howard edition of Skyrim, I was like, what are you even talking about? And then I went back and listened to the episode, and I was like, that's my fault. That whole thing is my fault, and I didn't remember it. And I said, is this what it's like to record in the middle of the night? You don't even know or remember what you said? Dang it! Ugh! The worst. The worst.
The worst.
If he talks over you like that, you can just threaten to give him cookies that instead of having chocolate chips on them have olives on them.
Oh, oatmeal olive cookies?
That's disgusting.
That is pretty gross.
That sounds nasty.
Okay, can I get someone else to pull up the YouTube thing and see how it sounds to them.
Yeah. That would be a horrible, horrible trick to play on someone.
Oh man.
What was this
Can you imagine?
comment about flat and earnests?
I said I was glad you took a breath because I was concerned for your well-being, and then I said you got to watch out for those flat and earnests.
No. We're gonna pull you over to our side one day.
I didn't say I wasn't a flat and earnest. You just assumed I wasn't a flat and earnest.
Yeah.
Alright, hold on. I'm going to mute it so I can hear us.
La da 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 ba ba da. You don't want to hear anybody sing Linkin Park?
Except Linkin Park.
I mean, listen, I have to say that when you say things like that, it kind of upsets me. And everything you say to me just brings me one step closer to the edge. And I'm about to break, okay? Am I even allowed to say that? I don't even know if I'm allowed to quote.
Great. Now they're going to close down our channel because you're talking about your well-being.
Yeah, I was just literally talking about the stress I feel and how it causes me to see Nern as spherical, even though it's clearly flat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you and Michael Kirkbride, besties. It sounded good on my end.
Could you hear everybody?
Yep. I couldn't hear the invisible person sitting next to me, but I could hear the three of us.
Okay. Cool.
So we probably need to turn up the ghost that's visiting, but I think that the rest of us sounded okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Alright. Well, I guess if the audio sounds okay.
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna link the Twitch in Twitter. Had to mute my mic so I could burp.
Dude, I forgot all about using that stupid scroll.
Oh my goodness.
When I was doing Battlegrounds and stuff, I forgot all about
Are
using that
you
thing.
new? You're new.
I wasn't really thinking about it when I was just like, I'm just gonna knock out and get these tickets. I wasn't really thinking about XP. Yeah. Put one of them things on and go do some Battlegrounds and you're gain some XP pretty quick for those daily randoms.
Yep. Okay. I sent the tweet. The tweet is sent.
The tweet has been tweetered.
The tweeter has been tweetered.
Would it make people mad if I said I really don't like Twitter?
No.
Good, because that's what I
What
said.
people are you referring to? If you're referring to us, I already knew that.
Anybody that might actually be watching or listening to this at some point.
Meh. Everybody's got their own preference for social media or none at all.
Yeah. The older I get and the more I'm on it, the more I'm leaning toward not.
Get off of my lawn,
Yeah.
you young kids.
Yeah. Yep.
Get out of my snug pod. Get off of my ramp.
Stay off my feed. I'm unfriending you. It's not how this works. You remember that commercial?
No.
It's like an old lady and like I don't know if they were in like a retirement home or what, but she was like, I unfriend you. It's like, that's not how that works. I have to try to find it because it is pretty funny. It's just, it was like, people that don't understand what they're saying. thankfully, it's real easy to find stuff. So I'll just go ahead and there you go.
There, I've added in what you've been up to.
What I've been up to?
Yeah. Since you didn't.
Hey, you don't know that I've been too busy worrying about anything.
Yes, I have. You've been posting about it on Twitter.
Actually, that's the Snugpod account. You don't know that was me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you. I can tell by how it's written. It's got your comedy. And also, I know what your living room looks like, and that one picture is definitely your living room.
Actually, it's not.
Okay, fine. It's not your living room.
It's not me at all.
Is it really not?
It's really not.
Who sent it to you?
You can take a peek in our zone chat and.
Oh, somebody send you a picture of it?
Yeah, I couldn't find.
I saw you post about it, but I didn't actually look to see if.
Yeah.
It was skullduggery.
I had help with the research. So, I didn't even.
All right, fine.
Sasquatch,
I'll go back and
was
look
that
at the
me and
picture
you?
better.
Was I with were me and you grouped together when I came up with that?
With what? The disc sideways?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I might have.
I didn't know
I actually
about
think
it.
I might have thought about that last night or early this morning, whatever, when I was at my friend's house till like 3. We were talking, and I think I had that idea. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway.
Now I'm going back to look at the picture. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's not your house.
Mm-mm. Nope. So, in the event that this part is actually viewed on the YouTubes later, appreciate the help with that.
It's even the special edition.
Okay.
Flat edition. Skyrim flat edition. You're welcome.
Shanty's first edition.
Shanty's first edition. That one got me. I can't believe I did not remember that whole conversation. That's what happens when you record at 12:25 at night. I went back and listened to the show and I was like, wow, that's me talking. I definitely said that. I was there. I was there for that. Okay, well, that's what I get.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it's 12:24.
Yeah. Are we ready to start?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, really quick, do we want to do this lore, or do we want to skip it? What do you want to do?
Do we want to do the slore? What's
yes,
a slore?
The slore.
Yeah, welcome to the Snugpod. We're going to discuss some slore.
It could be lore, and I could be slurring because I'm tired. I'm just kidding.
You're slurring the words. You're getting slore.
Slore.
Welcome to the slore seekers.
Slore seekers. Yeah. It's a meet the character. It's not terribly long, but...
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
Me either. I've seen it a little bit, but... It's about... It ties into the... dungeon DLC. It's coming. She's in Eldenroot Enclave. Which means that they'll probably do a meet the character on whoever is in the other dungeon in the next week, 2 weeks. I know what I forgot to put in there. The PTS stuff. Dang nabbit. Let me see if I can find that really quick. Hold on. I posted it in zone chat. There it is.
What about them basically backtracking a bunch of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if they backtrack some more. I think some people are still like, nope, keep going.
I'm not sure how much more they'll backtrack, but... Oops, that's not what was supposed to happen. I don't want to link the Discord. I want to link the actual forum. Copy. Paste. PTA? No. PTS.
Are you a part of that?
No.
Is that why you're, you get your kid ready for school? You're gonna go join the PTA?
No. Wait 1 second to add the one note underneath there that I wanted to, just so I don't forget it. Everybody's upset about healing. They want to know what's going on.
Oh yeah, I've read some of that too, because they've discussed damage changes, but not healing changes.
Yeah.
And what's the point in the damage changes and then and then lowering DPS, but then lowering health?
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they're just bringing everything down together. You know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say their goal is to bring up the floor and bring down the ceiling.
I guess, yeah. Well, we can talk about that when we get into it.
Yeah.
But I could kind of see how that might be the result from bringing all of it down.
Well, then they're bringing down the floor too. Kind of was the problem.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of bringing, in regards to the question about why nerf damage but then reduce health, I can see how that, keeps it from being like super easy for people that are better, but does help the ones that aren't. Anyway. Don't know that that's necessarily the best way to go about it, but I don't get paid the big bucks to decide that. I just pay the smaller bucks to keep playing.
Someone said, I feel like there's a dartboard and you're just all taking turns to do what next.
Yeah. Yeah, I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to get too crazy, but I think it is good to read what Gina wrote or mention it, because there were people in our Discord that didn't know about it until I posted something. Because it's PTS. Consoles don't pay attention to PTS, but it does affect us. You know?
Yee. Yee doggy.
Okay, I'm going to mute my mic and try not to sneeze again really quick, and then I'll be ready now that I added that.
Snarfin controller blat.
Snarfin controller blat?
Uh-huh.
Usually I just say watermelon or yell that at somebody.
Worcestershire sauce.
Alright, well, I didn't sneeze, so thanks for that.
No
But
problem. Glad I can
we'll
help.
see. We'll see what happens. Twitch. You good with the Twitch, right, Sasquatch?
Yeah, I haven't started it yet, but
Right, but I'm saying you're good to run it and all that stuff, so
yeah.
I'm gonna host it on mine like I always do.
Well, you just let me know when you're ready.
Ready whenever you are.
Episode 19. Mayhem, mayhem. Excuse me.
Brilliant. Oh my.
I'm live now. I'm live now.
Okay,
I
you
see
need
that.
You need to you need to send me that so I don't forget.
God bless you.
All
By
right.
the 8. What a mess.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the At You Bless You podcast. And
Okay.
we are live now. And by the time you're listening to this, we probably won't be. I mean, live recording. We hopefully will still be alive. It would be kind of sad if we were no longer alive. But that's not
I've
the same
died
as
lots.
not being live. Anyway, yeah. So it's not the At You Bless You podcast. It's the Snugpod Cast. And thanks for joining us. I am never separate, I think. Most of the time I am anyway. I am joined with 2 of our 3 hosts. Gwen cannot be with us again. We miss Gwen. Gwen needs to get back. We don't like we're like we're out of place. We're in Gwen's house and she's not here, and it just feels weird. It's like we're staying over, but she's not here to supervise. Anyway, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. I think the pollen from the green is trying to attack me and kill me. Or maybe it's all the dust from Imperial City, since I've spent most of my time there face down in the dirt, dead. I don't know, either way. But I'm pretty good.
And who are you?
Oh yeah, I should tell you that. I'm Gone Crazy Vaccine, the crazy lady.
Yeah. You don't grow on trees, though.
I do not. Crazy ladies don't grow on trees. You can't just go get another one. I mean, you probably could, but definitely wouldn't be the same.
They do, however, according to some, hang out in ponds throwing swords at people. So,
yes.
Anyway, what about you, sir? How are you? Who are you? Tell us a little about those things.
I'm Sasquatch. I'm good. I was dead, but I'm not anymore. So
I saw it.
It's yes, the joys of Imperial City.
So are you saying that you were in Imperial City just asking everyone that ran by, "Res, please"?
Pretty much.
Nice.
My plan was to try. I went and hid in a corner and stealthed myself, and then someone found me and it was over.
Speaking of stealthing, I always try to stealth when I go in there, but I've got my bear.
That's a
I'm
problem.
Like, how'd they find me? Oh yeah. My giant bear standing next to me.
You need to teach your bear how to be stealthy.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a PvP build, but I didn't have it equipped. So, oops.
It's more fun to run in there with all the wrong gear anyway.
Yeah, totally.
So, we mentioned that Gwen isn't with us, but Gwen has been doing some stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
She stabbed one of us in the back. No, that's not right. Something to do with stabbing.
Yeah. She does love a good old blade of woe.
Yeah? What has she been up to?
Well, the other day she said that she just decided she wanted to build a dagger, so she did.
She built a dagger. Yeah. So if you want to check that out, you can go over to her Twitter. Do you have that handy? It's not in the notes.
It's just at Gwen the Bard.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go check that out. Pretty cool. And show some love on the dagger. Otherwise, you might find it buried deep in your back in the middle of the night. Okay. That was my attempt to be dark, but...
Oh my.
I mean, it is kind of a... Anyway, it's an assassination-looking blade. I wouldn't want to...
It was a dark and stormy night in the Snugpod.
Yeah. We should do scary stories one night. Maybe for Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll do a Halloween special.
I was gonna say we should
yeah.
we should do a Witches Fest special and do scary stories from the scary stories of Tamriel.
Yeah. Yeah. So that might be a thing. So stay tuned. Witches Fest is just a few months away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite close.
Cool. Well, last week we had a guest with us. We had Shantyman from 10th Divine Podcast. We discussed that he had not ever done shipwrights regret. So we remedied that. Since we didn't have Gwen with us last week, we took him along and ran through and had a good time. Got to go through and let him experience the story for the first time and get some of that loot from there, some of that gear for the collection on a level 10 or 11 character. But it was a good time. What was our experience like with bugs? I don't even remember, but it says in our notes that it was buggy.
Yeah, it's still the same thing that's been going on. The doors not working.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have multiple Cascas though. Like, the first couple times we've been through, we always would have multiple Cascas and a couple Zagis in that one part after the Spriggan boss. There would always be two of them standing there.
Yeah.
So this time when we ran it, we didn't have two of them standing there, but we did still have all the problems with the doors. And then I had a little bit of problems with some skills, like desyncing, like skills firing stuff, which I hadn't had since being on the PlayStation 5, but I did notice it in there. So I wonder if it's just a dungeon issue,
Yeah, I had some of the same issues with the skills firing.
Yeah.
But I healed. That's right.
Oh, yeah,
Forgot
that's
about
right.
that.
You did. You stood back and healed. I forgot.
Threw a couple of heals on my bar, and I'm like, cool, I'm a healer now.
Healy Bear.
The joys of war.
I wouldn't heal vet, but for a normal, to get Shanty through there and I just slow down a little bit so I could kind of experience the mechanics in normal. But
it was pretty funny because at one point I saw you standing back there and I was like, what is he doing? There's 3 DPS in here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I looked and on the next boss you're like, oh, I threw some heals on my bar. I'm the healer now. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think we were at the logger boss and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to stand over here and just throw some heals on you guys. You'll be fine. I was like, okay. You're like, wow. I feel so, I don't know, like I'm not not doing what I should normally be doing.
Yeah. No, I started out doing some damage, and then afterwards I was like, just burn everything so quick and normal. I was just like, eh. So I literally, I think I had 2 heals on my bar and just one, then the other, and waited. And then did it again. So
That's pretty good. We only had 2 deaths. I mean, Normal, we probably shouldn't have had any deaths, but that's okay.
It's also not a dungeon intended for a level 10 character either. So.
Well, that's very true. And it was also like for Shanty and I, right? Is he my time zone? Didn't we figure that out? So it was pretty late. It was like
no,
1:30 or 2 in the morning for me
when
we were doing this. Okay. It was like 2 in the morning for me when we were doing it. So my one death I'll own up to gladly because
you fell asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. I did not sleep. Yes.
Gone sleeping
not
back
last
soon.
Week. Gone sleeping back soon.
Wow.
Oh no.
That's pretty
Oh
good.
no. Oh boy. I feel a Discord name change incoming.
I don't know why you would ever suspect such things.
Because before I had the power to do it, you used to do it to me all the time.
Well, you know.
All in good fun.
Yeah, mostly. Alright, so what else is going on in game?
White Strake's Mayhem.
And
what else does that mean? That means lots of death.
So you guys have actually been running a little bit of that even tonight. What else, y'all? What about you, crazy person? What have you been up to?
Been doing a lot of PvP because it's White Strakes. For me, mostly, like Sasquatch did tonight, I have not been running a PvP build at all. I have been running in everything, wearing all my PvE gear, and just slotting like a stealth, a heal, and maybe a shield if I'm feeling, I guess, like having a shield on my bar. I don't know. But yeah, been doing a lot of that. I've actually probably done a majority of this event right now on PC just because I was running a lot of it while I was at work the other day with some of the Lore Seekers and the PC side of things.
Red names are taking over.
Yep, they were working on emping a couple people over there. So actually, while I was at work, we helped emp one of the PC Lore Seekers, DOA Batman. But just really, really fun. I've been learning a lot of Cyrodiil tactics from that group, and they put up with me being in PvE gear and running around and picking up my dead body. Although I will say that when you get into a big Zerg like that, or a big group of people that you're coordinating with, it's pretty easy to stay alive for the most part, as long as you don't step in something stupid or get too close to people that are going to try and pull you into a dark convergence purge. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. And then on PlayStation, I've just been running around and kind of stealthing through and doing stuff in the evenings on my own, because I haven't really found anybody over there that's been on the same hours as me or has been able to group or anything. So I usually just tag on to a group that's running around, or just do it on my own and try not to die. And if I do die, oh well, just res it a keep somewhere. So I have gotten a couple leads, gotten quite a few style pages. So far the event has been pretty good to me, I would say. So
that's cool. Maybe I skipped over it a little too quick, because I don't know that we haven't really discussed what all is involved with White Strake's event, right? Did we discuss
did
that
last
week? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking we might have touched on it, but okay. Yeah, so PvP-based event, Imperial City, Cyrodiil Battlegrounds. Go do the things, get rewards, get tickets, get a Power Ranger suit, if that's your thing. That's right. Now I remember, we discussed the Power Ranger suit.
We did.
In a lot of details, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, last White Strakes, I think I spent probably a majority of my time actually in Imperial City. And this White Strakes, I have probably spent a majority of my time in Cyrodiil. Like, I'm liking Cyrodiil more and more. Once you know how it works, it's really fun. It's very intimidating at first and can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're in like Grey Host or something crazy like that. But I just go to a smaller campaign or a shorter campaign and just run around and have fun. And I highly encourage everybody to do it because it's pretty fun. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Awesome. What about you, Sasquatch?
I haven't been up to too much this week. I got some time in today. And I was gonna hop into Cyrodiil or Imperial City, and then I realized my inventory was full and my bank was full. So spent some time doing some inventory management.
I know nothing
and
about those things.
Yeah. I was gonna say I pulled a never, but you know. Which normally I'm pretty good with inventory. I usually don't have issues, but anyways, I got distracted and I started doing some antiquities somehow, and I got the Druidic provisioning station completed today, so that was cool.
Are those leads hard to get?
No, they're just scattered around on the ground around High Isle and Amenos, so you just have to find them.
Pretty.
So you, like, when you say scattered around, they're literally like you just go up to them and pick them up?
Yep.
It's not RNG based?
Nope.
Wow.
Yep, there's like, I think 12 different leads you gotta get though, so, and they are scattered everywhere, so it's time consuming.
Can you pick them all up at once, just so you already have them?
Yeah, you can pick them all up, and then you can scry 5 at a time. So I picked them all up and then did 5, and then as soon as I get one, I scry another one, because sometimes you'll get them in the same location. So just kind of kept doing that, and then finished that up, and then I did manage to get into Imperial City and Cyrodiil to get my tickets. I wasn't able to do too much, but yeah, got my quest done in Imperial City, and then got destroyed, which was perfect because then I didn't have to run back through the sewers. Like
that group of DCs or getting icy that came by us and just wrecked everybody in their path. It's like, no chance.
Yeah.
So,
I got
go ahead.
hit with Dark Convergence in my PvE gear, so it's just, no.
Were we?
All it takes. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if we had started this last time there was a White Strikes.
Started what?
The show, like if we trying to line up, because it would have been what, like January-ish.
Yeah, when... I think we did have one. I think the show was going when we had the last White Strikes.
Okay. Because I was just going to toss out to anybody that's maybe not aware that if you want to try to avoid having to go back through sewers or get back to keeps or any of that kind of stuff, you can always just load into, if you're in Imperial City, load into Cyrodiil or vice versa.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And you can also, the other option is to try to load a battleground, but you may have to wait on that. But if you load into a battleground, once you come out of the battleground, it drops you back into wherever you were prior to going into whichever campaign you went into.
Yeah, the great thing about queuing back and forth between Cyrodiil and Imperial City is if you pick like a really low population campaign, you can go really quickly. If you just stealth up and hide somewhere, it'll take you hardly any time at all. And as soon as you get there, you can queue back to go drop off your quest or do whatever you're going to do. So
yep,
it's a really nice time saver. And if you preload all your quests before the event, then you've got like 8 of them or something loaded up, you know, you can just drop one each day, and if you don't want to go into Imperial City ever again or into Cyrodiil ever again, if you can find a Zerg and preload all of those quests, man, it makes the event so easy.
Yeah. What else, Sasquatch? Did you have anything else?
Oh, well, I went into Cyrodiil, and then I was just messing around in the menu, and I realized you have to pay 100,000 gold or 100,000 AP to leave a campaign, which is fine, but I thought it was kind of ridiculous that I hadn't participated in the campaign at all, and I still would have had to pay. But I found out you can switch campaigns for free once, so I don't know what I'm doing in Cyrodiil. So
is that once per campaign period, or
it says so. Yeah, it says you can switch, and then it says in the future or near future you'd have to pay again, or pay to switch again.
So it might work kind of like a way shrine, where the fee's based on how recently you've done it.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
100,000 does seem like a lot.
I think part of the reason they do that too is to keep people from faction hopping as well, because there are some campaigns that are faction locked. So like Grey Host, I think when you go in to that 30-day, it's locked out. So like if you go in first on an AD character, then you're locked to AD. But some of the other campaigns are made where you can go in on like an AD character, and then you can drop out and come back on a DC character, and then you can drop out and come back on an EP character. I think. I'm not 100% versed in that part of Cyrodiil, but I'm pretty sure that it is possible to do that with certain campaigns, because that's how people will quickly level a low-level character in PvP during these events with all the bonus stuff. And if you throw a tort on, like a war tort that you can get from using the Cyrodiilic oranges, it's even faster, because the war torts are only 30 minutes at a time. But if you like go and get with a Zerg and you're doing keeps and you're doing quests and you're doing all of that stuff, you can be very productive in 30 minutes.
I'm never productive in Cyrodiil.
I've never been productive, but I've probably only ever even spent in my entire career playing this game. Career, it's a weird word. Entire time I've spent playing this game, like a few hours ever total in there. So it's not like I've got a vast experience of, to draw from of the times I've had opportunities to contribute to anything.
Well, this will tell you how crazy it is. So I've been in Cyrodiil not that long during the current campaign. I jumped from like being in the hundreds up to 44th or 43rd position yesterday, just by doing quests, daily turn-ins, and then repairing keeps after taking them. And I wasn't even close to the top of the leaderboard, of course, because there is a big gap between like the 30s and 40s, and then when you get up to the top, 5 people or whatever. Like I had like, I don't even know, like maybe 400k, which is nothing in points, and the people at the top are sitting at like around 2 million. But still, that's a pretty significant jump. If you put in the work, it's really not terrible if you get a group that can help you push to get up towards the top. Or if you get into the campaign really early, like if when it first starts you go in and you just repair everything and you take a bunch of stuff and you do a bunch of things, you'll end up on the top of the leaderboard pretty quickly.
So. Okay, here's something I guess I've never asked, because it's not where I try to play most of the time anyway. But helping someone push to get Emperor. How do you do that where it's not just also causing the people that are supposed to be helping to climb those ranks as well? Is it whoever is taking a keep or repairing something? Like, how does it determine that person's getting it and not one of the people trying to help them get it?
It's whoever's number one in your alliance. So there are a couple of different factors that obviously factor in. It's who has the highest score on the scoreboard for your alliance, who owns the ring around Cyrodiil, because you have to have all of those keeps the color of your faction to depose the previous emperor to take the emperorship. So a lot of times, tactically in Cyrodiil, what you'll have going on is you'll have some groups that are trying to cut off other groups' resources so that it keeps them from being able to travel around the map. Because in order to be able to connect a keep to the way shrine system that's in Cyrodiil, the resources around it have to be owned by the same people. So you'll have groups that just run and flip resources and stuff just to be a pain in the butt, but then you'll also have groups that are pushing towards the specific keeps or the ones that are the surrounding keeps to help with that. So when somebody's doing an emperor push, it usually means that they're ahead by a decent amount in the points, and then you just get a Zerg or a couple groups tactically together, and you push different keeps around the circle for Cyrodiil until they're all that color. And then usually everybody ends up kind of at the same one at the end, and it turns into this big all-out, like, crazy, awesome battle where, once you get the tick, as they call it, that you've taken the keep, then it will usually crown whoever the emperor is. And it'll pop up on the screen, and it'll say, like if I was getting it, for example, it would say, Gone Crazy Back Soon from the Aldmeri Dominion has been crowned Empress of Cyrodiil, and then it'll have Evergloam or whatever in the parentheses. So it tells everybody who's been crowned. And then if you go into the scoring menu, you can see, like, how long they've been the emperor, who's next in line, because you can, like, basically step down as well and give it to the person below you if you want. A lot of times people don't do that because it kind of messes with the scoring system and all of that stuff. So each individual alliance has their own scoreboard, basically, of who's in the lead with the points. And then the other requirements are that you have to have the ring around Imperial City and, be leading that way, I guess you could say, too.
So when you're trying to help someone else, you're probably far enough behind in points that you're not just going to end up overtaking them.
Yeah. I mean, it has happened, I'm sure. But in general, a lot of times people will have it in zone chat. Like, because people are keeping track of the leaderboards. So they'll look and see if somebody's close or if somebody's quite a bit ahead in points, and then they see that on the map you can tell that there's fights happening around the ring and there's people pushing the ring. You know that they're trying to emp somebody, basically. And usually groups are pretty good about it too, especially during white streaks. A lot of times after somebody emps, they'll just leave the campaign because then their score doesn't stay at the top of the leaderboard. It means that they miss out on whatever rewards they might get from that campaign at the end if their faction is in the lead, but it also helps with people being, it's like the kind thing to do, I guess, that if that makes sense, because then it allows someone else to emp who is underneath you without your score being in the way.
Okay. All right.
So
cool.
It's pretty fun. There's a lot to it. I mean, there's a lot more than that from a tactical standpoint. But like I said, if you get groups that are, I mean, when we pushed the one lore seeker the other day to emp, granted it was a lot of work on his part. He was in Cyrodiil like 16 hours, I think, or he was in there like 12 hours the day before, and then like maybe 6 hours the day that we emped him. But he was just running, flipping keeps and repairing stuff and, doing all of that to get himself up in the points. And then when we actually pushed the ring to emp him, it was a lot of it was already done. So there were only a couple keeps that we had to push, which is good.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so hopefully that helps somebody out. I clearly already knew those things. I was asking in place of someone maybe who didn't. So, yeah. You believe that, right? Because it's the truth.
Yeah, totally.
Of course.
What was that lore breaking sound? Sorry.
Whose was that?
That would have been me, because I'm a putz, man.
Nah.
Let me turn that down so that don't happen again. Okay. So where do we want to go next? There's some things in the news section
Well,
here.
what did you do?
I'm sorry?
I said, well, what did you do?
Oh, I didn't do anything.
Tell us what you've been doing.
I forgot to turn my volume down. That's what I did. Yeah, I actually haven't been in ESO just a ton. I did log in once and do one Imperial City quest and a daily battleground just to get tickets, and in the process of doing that, I forgot all about the scroll, so I didn't get my extra 100% AP and experience, whatever, from doing that. Had a fairly successful, for me, so that's a relative term, obviously, but fairly successful battleground game. I was getting more kills than I thought I would on this character, who is also decked out in PvE gear primarily. And but yeah, I was noticing that I was able to get some kills. That probably just means I was playing people who also aren't great either, because anybody I've ever played that is actually a good PvP player usually just makes me feel like I don't deserve to own this game or something. I don't know, but yeah, it was fun. On the other hand, though, I've said that I haven't been able to get the tutorial to work for Tales of Tribute. I got that to work. I went in and I was
Nice.
when we ran shipwrights, I was like, I'm gonna turn my captions on, just so I can read some of the dialogue as we go through it. And then since I already had it on, I was like, well, let me just see if reading it is doable, because I'd rather listen than have to try to read it while watching the cards on the screen. And I was like, well, let me just try it. So I went in, and the dialogue started, and I think having the dialogue on my screen actually helped. It's Bragus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bragus.
I think it actually helped him get his dialogue. I think he was forgetting his lines. And so by having the dialogue on my screen, I think he was able to read his lines, and the dialogue worked. So I got through the tutorial. So I've actually played a few games of Tales. Still not entirely sure what exactly is happening with some of the stuff, and like trying to watch what's happening on my opponent. It's just like a card flips up, a card goes away, card flips up, card goes away, and like I don't even have time to process what I'm seeing before it's my turn again. So I kind of have to learn that, I guess. But yeah, Tales is kind of fun. I think if they continue to build it out and maybe one day bring it to like a standalone mobile game like we've talked about in the past, I think that would be kind of cool. But I can see how it probably does need to it probably will need to be fleshed out more before it becomes its own thing, because it's clearly kind of a side thing in this game, which is, that's what it's intended to be. But yeah, that was nice to finally be able to get through that tutorial and actually be able to start trying to play it some. And other than that, I've largely just, I have a passion project, okay? And you guys may be aware of this, but it's kind of this thing that ever since last week, we're having a really serious discussion, and it just It was placed upon my heart. The burden was put on my shoulders to carry the torch for.
It's very important.
It is. I mean, I feel like people.
Oh, no.
I feel like people need to hear the truth, and so I've begun a campaign to try to help enlighten our fellow players, because there seems to be kind of some misunderstanding around the world in which we play. And I want people to know that, know the truth about where we're adventuring. And so I've begun a campaign. It's a Twitter campaign. I use all of the Tashi hags and those things that apparently are supposed to help you find stuff. But anyway, the campaign is it's hashtag flat and earnest.
I can't. If you ever see that on the Twitter, it's not me.
So
It's now a mandatory hashtag for our Twitter.
yes.
Flat and earnest.
Yeah, so
No.
so periodically
I claimed the name, by the way. I created a character named Flat and Earnest.
Did you really?
I did.
What are they?
Is it an orc?
I need to know. What are they?
Or is it what elf? I just had to claim the name. I was like, I got
Green, flat and earnest.
It's like this character needs a backstory, but for now I just needed to make sure that the name was mine.
Well, so periodically on Twitter,
I hate everyone.
so periodically, we may, from the Snugpod Twitter account, send out some very clear factual evidence that Nirn is indeed flat, including
I'm rolling my eyes.
including
so hard.
our most recent tweet regarding a small section of Tamriel, just Skyrim alone. We envision Skyrim as this place with mountains and hills and all this different geography. But if you step back far enough and look at it from the right angle, it's entirely flat, and you can see the evidence of that on our Twitter profile. So go check that out. It's what's that Twitter handle there, Sasquatch?
At Snugpod Cast.
There you go. Let's just make sure he's on your toes, because I don't want you to fall over and fall off.
You're inside the snug pod. You can't fall off of your so-called flat Nirn.
Are you sure?
It's kind of round, it could roll off.
But are we sure that the snug pod is even round, and that's not just merely
Oh no! Here we go.
a result of stress on our minds, causing us to visualize the snug pod as roundish?
If anyone is causing stress on my mind in the snug pod, it's not Nirn or the Divines.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and
Is it?
yes, it is. It's near and dear to my heart for the sake of spreading the information. It's near and dear to your heart because it might cause a heart attack. All that stress that it's putting on you.
It's not. It's not. I just think it's funny that you're so committed. You're fully committed.
Hey, when you're gonna dive into something, you just run full steam ahead. Just know when to stop so you don't fall off.
Again, I'm the only person that walked under the bar.
Yeah, well, but maybe that's what happened. I hit my head too hard.
maybe.
All right. Well, anyway, that's what I've been up to. So, well, there's another secret side project I might be working on, but can't get into that here.
Okay.
So, I'll just let that one simmer, and the results of which may or may not ever come to light. So, anyway.
Yeah. Sure.
So we have some news.
We do.
News-ish type things. And what is this about a PC build?
Oh yeah. So on ElderTrollsOnline.com, they posted this crazy. It's difficult for audio listeners to explain this, but they did this High Isle themed PC build by a group called Future XP, and it's nuts. If you get a chance, go look at it. It looks like a Breton castle, but they built a custom PC that looks like a Breton castle from High Isle, and they have a video on it, and holy moly, it looks crazy. It like lights up, and yeah, I just don't even know how to explain it. It looks like someone took one of the buildings straight out of Gunfallen Bay and turned it into a PC tower. So it's pretty cool looking. I'm a little jealous.
Okay. See, when I first read that headline, reading with all this other distracting noise in my ears right before we started the show, when I read PC build, and I was like, are we talking about somebody that came up with some ESO build and it's exclusive to PC somehow? What is this? And I did not even think about it being an actual build of a PC. I thought that's how, yeah. Anyway, that's what happens when it's late at night. And I'm going on like 4 hours of sleep, so I'll take full credit or blame or whichever you choose to say. Yeah, that is neat. I'm looking at it now. That's it almost looks like a Lego set.
Yeah, it looks like a model, like this really high definition model. Like, I feel like it looks like a museum piece when you would stand over something that's like, this is what the building looked like with a cutaway, except that there's PC parts inside. And it looks like it's got this really cool, like, super hefty cooling system in it, which is really neat that they hid in the tower. So, pretty cool.
Is that powered by Rothgar?
Powered by Rothgar cooling?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Rothgar cooling. That's exactly
So,
what it's
so when you say they hit it in the tower, you mean like the tower part of the tower?
The tower from the tower. Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Very cool.
Bad jokes will never leave us.
Mm-mm.
You're welcome.
No, you do have a couple of dads in the room, so.
Yep. I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's it on that. Nothing like super crazy, just a pretty cool art project, basically.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. We also have community guides, the White Strakes Mayhem July 2022 article. You actually got to look through that?
I skimmed it a little bit. So basically all this is they've done the usual compiling that they do like every month or couple months for different content creators and their guides. This one is really, really nice because since White Strakes Mayhem is going on right now, this gives you a chance to look through some different content creators and what their takes are on Cyrodiil. So there's all different combinations of things in here. There is things on Cyrodiil dailies. There are things on beginner guides for Cyrodiil in here. There is how you can get rich during this event in here. How to make a bomber that's a magic and nightblade, which is everybody's worst nightmare right now in Cyrodiil, because between that and Dark Convergence, you're pretty much dead a majority of the time. Um, so there's lots of different builds, lots of different things like that. But there's just some general community guides too for if you want to learn a little bit about Cyrodiil, just take a peek at them because it's a nice little compilation there of different content creators.
Yeah, that's there's quite a few videos listed there. Easiest PvP tank, um, werewolf PvP build, hybrid PvP meta. Yeah, quite a few. There's even one on add-ons. You may mention that. I was looking at it while you were talking about it too. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things in here. So if you're like me and new to PvP, like the person that I represent, not me, I'm not new to it. Definitely come check these out because they're probably way more helpful than anything you would hear from me. My PvP expertise is null and void.
Mine's not super great either. Oh, Sparky answered something, but I'm not sure what he said. He said, you could. I don't know. Yeah. Next thing in the news is a preview about Lost Depths, Earthen Enclave. So that's the next DLC that's coming. It is it's the Lost Depths DLC, but the name of the dungeon is Earthen Enclave. I did not get to, being completely honest, did not get to skim this article, but just looking at the photo that's at the top that you can see on ElderScrollsOnline.com, that boss looks gnarly, and I am so excited to see what its mechanics are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a different model from. That model hasn't been used for any of the other enemies before, has it?
I've never seen it.
So. And I love in the picture you can see kind of the roots coming down, because I think this takes place underground. It's giving me like hardcore Celine's web feels in the picture with the mist and the trees. Looks so cool. So this one says, just as a quick little read of the first paragraph here, it says, for centuries, Eldenroot Enclave served as a haven for the druids of the Sisters, regardless of what group they might belong to. But now this solemn sanctuary has come under assault from the Fire Song Circle, an unforgivable violation. So this talks about Druid Laurel, who they actually did meet the character on, which we might get to talk about a little bit later. But you are essentially going through this dungeon to help repel the Fire Song druids, or the Fire Song Circle. And you are going through the underground of this island sanctuary, I guess. There's another one of those really cool, like, three-dimensional picture video things where you can look around, too, in one of the rooms, and wow, it looks awesome. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that they've been doing those with the dungeon previews.
Yeah, it's been really, really neat to get a little preview of that and see it. So basically it says in this dungeon there are 3 communions that druids use to speak to nature on the island. Stone, root, and air, and each one of them has a unique feel. So from the close-in rocks of the stone communion to the underground paths of the root communion, which is probably what we see in that top photo we were just talking about a minute ago, and finally the airy cliffs of the communion of air. While usually a place of serenity, the Fire Song have brought violence and chaos to the Enclave. The druids scouring the Eldenroot are formidable warriors, but they are also joined by their own wild beasts, mindless constructs, and even corrupted spirits of the island itself. Sounds really cool.
There is I believe it's a side quest. I don't think it was part of the main quest. That dealt with Sasquatch. it dealt with some of the spirits and how they're bound and part of the nature there in the area, and that's sort of the conflict that you have to deal with is what's going on with when something goes wrong with without spoiling too much. What they're doing and how they're supposed to function, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same. What do you call them? It's not. They're not a clan of druids, right? They're a. What's the word?
Circle.
Circle.
A circle.
Yeah, I think it's this. I think it may be that same group. I could be wrong on that. I'm actually not even done with the side quest yet.
I still haven't gotten to do any of them. But I do know that they do talk a bit about the druidic circles at the beginning of, like the very beginning of the High Isle chapter, when you go see that first druid that's out in her, she's like out in a hut outside of Gunfallen. She talks a little bit about the different druidic groups and kind of what their feelings are on how they interact with the actual earth itself. So that's a nice little addition too. If you haven't seen that dialogue or anything yet, maybe go check that out before you do any of the stuff that comes out with Lost Steps, because she does talk about the different groups, and I think they do mention the Fire Song Circle. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've only made it through the second quest on the main storyline, and it seems like the druids are going to be scattered throughout the whole story, but I'm still pretty early on, so I don't know.
Pretty exciting.
Yes.
Something else to note about this dungeon is going to be one of the sets that come out of it. So one of the sets that this dungeon is going to drop is called Stone's Accord. This set is kind of crazy because it puts a buff on your allies' damage and sustain when you hit them with an AoE heal. So basically it turns almost any area heal almost into like combat prayer, because it will allow support people to hopefully diversify their ability bar. Now whether they'll actually do that or not, who knows? But the fifth trait for it is, on a heal with an area effect, apply Minor Berserk and Minor Resolve to healed allies for 4 seconds. If a healed ally already has Minor Berserk or Minor Resolve from Stone's Accord, restore 550 Magicka, and that can occur once every 5 seconds.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's a huge, I mean, I wouldn't say huge. That's a pretty good, a pretty good buff there.
Well, Minor Berserk is damage, right?
Yeah.
And then Minor Resolve is damage resistance?
Maybe?
I think that's right.
So this says, good positioning of area heals can go a long way with helping your team get the most out of their DPS. Combining this with a more classic set like Spell Power Cure could result in a huge boost, since standing in an area heal will proc both. Ooh, fancy. Kind of making some of that other gear that people have, well, people still wear Spell Power Cure, but I was going to say that people have gotten away from a little bit. Making it a little more relevant again. There's also going to be body and face markings coming out of here, just like normal. But the big one that's kind of fun, or I guess I can't say the big one. Maybe it's not the big one to a lot of people. But I like when they do stuff for the dungeons where if you walk in, you just get something. This one, they're giving you a pet. It's a mulberry hermit crab. He's pretty cute. It's like a little purple hermit crab. So that'll be fun. Nice little pet that you can get just by walking in there. So even if you don't have a group and you don't want to go run through right away, go get your hermit crab pet. Just fast travel to the dungeon.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah.
I'm definitely interested in checking that set out, because I need to start working on some options for a healer build for this character anyway. So, yeah, may have to check that out. It might be kind of a fun set to play around with, and I think I already have some of the spell power cure stuff, so there we go.
Yep.
Awesome.
And really quick, what Sparky was saying earlier is when you said, I'm not going to mention anything about my secret projects, he said, well, you could tell us all about the secret projects. So that was what his response was to.
Mm-hmm. I could.
Sparky's viewing us. We have an overseas watcher. Sparky's viewing us from overseas. He moved back recently.
Well, I'm just gonna keep it a secret. And
you should keep it a secret.
And you can just wonder what it is, and I may or may not ever divulge the project I'm working on. It may or may not even be ESO related. You never know.
Might be. So that's that. There's your Lost Depths preview and your tease about something that never may or may not ever be working on.
Yeah.
Next thing's kind of the hot topic that we were avoiding a little bit.
That store with all of the really dark clothes.
No, not not that
hot topic.
But honestly, let's be for real. If there was a store that was gonna carry Elder Scrolls themed clothing or Elder Scrolls Online, it would be Hot Topic.
Okay.
Now I want them to do that so I can just go there and buy something.
Yeah, I don't think we have one of those anymore. Our mall here is kind of dying, and we had one in the mall for a while, but
I think a lot of malls are dying. So.
Yeah. Now this particular area, I don't think that's really I don't think it's really the right scene for Hot Topic. So it didn't last real long, but.
Well, we won't worry about that hot topic, but we can worry about this hot topic.
Yeah, carry on, hot topic.
Which is the PTS cycle info that we've gotten just recently.
Burn myself.
Yeah. So, Gina finally posted something the other day as a follow-up to all of the feedback that had been done during the first couple weeks of PTS cycle. So, should I read the whole thing, or should I just pull out what we think is important? What would you guys like to do?
Well, you can read the whole thing. It's not super long.
No. Okay. So Gina says, hi everyone, we wanted to take a minute to give you some insight into some additional changes coming to the PTS affecting combat and balance. As we've continued reading through your feedback from testing these changes, we determined that some of our goals were actively competing with each other and not reaching the target audiences in the way we intended. We ultimately want to help raise the floor and reduce the ceiling in regard to DPS output, while simultaneously improving class balance in some problematic areas. So far, this has led to competing changes that have hurt some groups of players, despite us stating that we didn't want to actively harm playstyles with any particular change. We are committed to following through with additional ways to mitigate these issues while still meeting our intended goals. With all that said, in next week's PTS patch, you'll find that we will be reevaluating some of the adjustments made to light and heavy attacks so they're a bit less drastic. Light and heavy attacks will once again scale with your stats, just to a lesser extent than before. Overall, there will still be a nerf on light attack damage, but this will allow us to give a lot more love to heavy attacks and will be less of a stark difference. There will also be a handful of tweaks to some class abilities in next week's PTS patch based on the feedback we've received, but a majority of these will come in the final PTS patch. Note the focus of these adjustments will be on Magicka-based Nightblades, Wardens, and Sorcerers. Additionally, for Dungeons & Trials, we will be reducing the health of all bosses on Veteran difficulty and above in the final PTS patch to account for the overall DPS loss. For Trials specifically, we'll be reducing the health of all champions and bannermen on Veteran difficulty and above. This reduction in health for each boss will vary from encounter to encounter, but the result should be that each Dungeon & Trial boss fight will provide a similar challenge to what is on live currently. The Trial bannermen and champions provide a challenge in their own right, so we felt additional adjustments were warranted. We recognize there's been a lot of concern surrounding the combat changes currently on the PTS, and we truly believe with some continued adjustments and iterations, this is the best course of action for the long-term health of the game. We're also working on a brief Q&A that should help address some of the more general questions surrounding the changes. Thank you for reading and, of course, taking the time to provide so much in-depth and valuable feedback. Wow. Wow. That's a lot. That is a lot of, I don't want to say backtracking because I don't think that's the right word, but, you know, I have never felt like Zos doesn't listen, but some people have, and to me, personally, this just shows me that, like, they do listen. They are paying attention to what people are testing and doing. We don't know whatever their end goal is, so, you know, I think sometimes people feel like they're not listening, but it's not that they're not listening. It just doesn't align with whatever they're trying to accomplish. But right here, this feels like, okay, what we thought was going to happen isn't what's happening. And the community is not happy, and the community is the one pointing out because they kind of are some of the people that know it best because they play it every day, which pieces were directly counteracting each other, which pieces are directly affecting each other when they may not have originally realized that they were going to be a problem.
I know that the sentiment from some of the forum posts prior to this, one of the things that I saw repeated was that people were frustrated that it seemed like Zos was more interested in spreadsheets than what players were saying. And then they came out with well, actually, a lot of that may have been in response to this. But there was a previous post that made the comment, the data that we collect is always more helpful than anecdotal feedback, which is essentially people saying, here's what it feels like. And that definitely did not sit well with a lot of people. Because the concern is that, you know, when they do things based too much on numbers, it has a bigger effect on how fun the game is. And if you're pushing too far towards something based on what you read on paper versus what people are experiencing when they play, that, and I think rightfully so, kind of, you know, cause some people to have some concerns. But I do think it's always a little unfair to just assume that they're not paying attention. I mean, they've got Gina and Jess, right? That, I mean, and then probably other folks too. I don't know their full team.
Yeah, there's a whole team.
But you know, that's their whole job is reading forums and. Well, that's not their whole job, but, like, you know, that's a big part of what they do is they read the forums and they read Twitter and they read Reddit and they probably are watching some streams and following what other people are saying, and they collect all of that data and take it back to developers.
And they had an overwhelming amount from this PTS. I mean, I can't even imagine, just from the stream team, people alone who got in there, like, immediately and just completely went crazy with testing. You know, it's really hard to, I encounter this in my job too. It's really hard when you have a play as you want sort of game and then you're trying to do a one-size-fits-all change, right? So, like, this is very much a play as you want, use whatever you want, combine whatever weird gear or skills or buffs or debuffs you want and play however you want. But also, now that you've done that, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, which align more with a traditional build style or a traditional DPS ceiling. That is hard because one size doesn't necessarily always fit all, right? And that's the hard part. So I think they were looking at it from a, let's make these changes overall. It should do this. But then when they went back and looked at it and the players brought up, hey, but we don't always play it that way, or this, when you do this, this happens to this other group. I think it was kind of one of those, like, it's a trickle effect, you know, you don't think that it's gonna be as broad of a change necessarily, maybe, or maybe they did know that, but they just were not expecting it to have as many of the challenges or issues that the players brought up. I don't know. I mean, healers are still the ones who are feeling around in the dark right now. So they haven't really said anything to them on some of their things that will be affecting their builds, because there is some concern over the healing nerfs that are coming too with some of this. So maybe that'll be in that Q&A that you talked about. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll just
and
have to see.
we get a new PTS every like 3 months.
Yeah,
Because
about.
I mean, we have basically 4 releases a year between Dungeons Chapter, Dungeons Zone, right? So roughly every 3 months there may be some variation in there, but that's where a lot of people are getting frustrated, because they'll adjust and spend the time to get a build together, and 3 months later something feels like it's been gutted. And you know, you brought up healers. Yeah, I've read some of the comments from healers asking about, you know, well, okay, but you know, in response to Gina's post, you're going to do these things to cut back on how much you were nerfing damage or whatever, and you're lowering boss health so that they're easier to kill, but you haven't addressed the fact that you put all these nerfs on healing. Are you going to also adjust how hard enemies hit? Because it ain't gonna matter if we're dead, because I can't heal through some of the things that the bosses or maybe some of the stronger mobs, whatever. You know, if I can't heal, because even though their health is lower, they are still hitting just as hard, but I am healing considerably less. So, but this is cycle 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 is currently happening.
That's what this one's regarding, right?
So usually 5 is, I think, the last one.
Right.
Because they usually do each, like, they run patch notes like every couple weeks or every week and a half during the PTS. Because they have a pretty long PTS cycle. But I think it happens almost every time where week 1 of PTS is a really big mess, because they just kind of push everything and want to see how everything is going. And they brought up on Tales something that's very important too. Like, I wonder what the stat is of the casual player to the, like, stream team member or the hardcore endgame people or whatever that get in there on the first day of PTS. There's not really an incentive unless you're a content creator or unless you just want to play around with stuff to play on PTS. So that's why I think too, you know, we end up with some of the bugs and things even after PTS, because of the fact that, you know, those players are going in and they are looking at specific pieces of the content. They may not always be going through and doing side quests and finding out that the dialogue is mismatched or things like that. So, you know, I'm very thankful that those creators do that and that people do that, because it is really important from the damage perspective and from all of the things that obviously are going on with light and heavy attacks and all of that stuff now. But I do agree with Ark and Lotus in the fact that I would love to see something that would make people have a little more incentive to get in there, so that some players that are a little more casual are also feeling what some of these changes feel like and can give feedback on it, you know? So.
I'm sure it's not ever going to happen, but there's not really a lot of that kind of stuff on console. But um, bringing, if there was some way to bring PTS to console as well.
Yep, they mentioned that too. You know, I just don't. It's hard enough getting Sony to push a DLC, like in terms of PlayStation. You know, we had that one. That's part of the reason why our cycle is 2 weeks behind PCs. A lot of times for consoles is because it takes that long for the approval process to go through the other, you know, groups that have to approve.
Yeah, I mean, they could line that up if they wanted to, though. I don't know. I know that can be that does cause issues sometimes, but yeah, Sony is known for that.
Yeah,
being an issue. I mean, they completely pulled Cyberpunk off the store, but that was probably pretty good because that game didn't work.
It happened with ESO though in a cycle too. There was a DLC that got pushed, and then something happened, and it like locked out, and you couldn't. I can't remember when this was. It was a number of years ago, but there was some sort of a thing where it was supposed to drop on one day, and Sony didn't do the. Was it when we got Markarth? Might have been when they were doing that update for Markarth that was so bad because we were having all the blue screen issues, and they tried to push an incremental patch, and it took Sony like a week or something to approve it. So we didn't get the incremental patch until a little bit later, and we were the ones that were not able to pretty much play the game. That was one of those times.
Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, no, I'm done. That was it. What were you going to say, Sasquatch? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was the other one. I can't remember. Was it the when you had the really bad bug with inventory and equipping items and everything? And they're like, oh yeah, 5 weeks, and we'll get this patch out. And it's like, I think it had to do with like how many patches they can put through on Sony within a set period of time or something.
Yes.
If I remember right.
It had to do with the timing, and you can only do X amount of updates per X amount of weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the other bugs, because there's the like inventory one that everything was moving so slow, and guild traders, and then they're like, yeah, 5 weeks and we'll get the patch. And then in 5 weeks, I learned how to do it the other way and had to. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but.
Was it a server side instead of a system thing that they ended up doing? I don't remember. I feel like I remember that being a thing, but I don't remember the details on it. I know some games can do hot fixes instead of patches, where it's basically on their end. And
I don't even think they could do a hot fix though. I think that was part of the problem is they had to do an actual full incremental patch, and they had to wait like 5 weeks. They did a hot fix for one thing in the meantime. Yeah, it was during Markarth. And then there was that, like you said, Sasquatch, the inventory bug that we dealt with all the way until the next release is what happened. Which was 5 weeks away at the time, because they said they wouldn't allow them to push the DLC or the chapter release and the incremental patch at the same time. That's what it was. So, or like within the same amount of weeks or whatever. I remember that now. But either way, gross. So getting a PTS for us, I feel like if they were having to do the same sort of cycle like they would do on PC, like a week 1, a week 3, a week 5, would be a nightmare for console. I wish, but that and the copying everybody's characters over, I feel like would take forever, like from the accounts. But maybe that part wouldn't be any worse than on PC, but still, woof.
I wouldn't have space on my hard drive for another copy of.
Yeah, that would be the other thing. You'd have to have to install a separate client or whatever for it. Yeah. Nope. Hold on just a second. Yeah. Yep. So it's only recording me at the moment.
Womp.
This is just silly.
Knock on wood, I haven't gotten booted out yet. Yes, Sparky said, "That's it. Gold necklaces and rings are expensive. Changing sets every few months hurts."
Ouch.
Sure does. I told him that's why I'm lazy.
Yep.
Sparky's also the one that runs our trader on PC, so he's a man of many mats, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
A man of many mats who appears in my inbox every few weeks and says, "Gold's due. Send it to me." And I say, "Gladly. Here's 50K, Sparky. See you in a few weeks."
Okay, I'm coming back in now. So, yeah, I was trying to look up. I guess that's probably why I got booted. I stood still for too long. But I was trying to look up and see if I could find the details on that. It looks like it was back on April 2021. Was this last year? Is it really that recent?
Yes, because we had to wait. We had to wait for the chapter to come out.
Blackwood.
We had to wait for Blackwood to come out to get that patch.
We wanted to give you an update on the item UI issue currently on the ESO console servers. Due to certification timing for the upcoming Blackwood chapter and ESO console enhanced, we will not have any more console incremental patches before the Blackwood and Update 30 launch. Fix for this issue will be an Update 30 launch patch on June 8th. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was last year.
Yep, so that was last year going into Blackwood.
Okay.
And the other thing that we were talking about was, like with the blue screens of Doom, was during Markarth's drop, which was the previous end of year DLC. Like their Q4 of the previous. But that was also one of the ones that was one of the first ones done entirely from home. So it kind of made sense that that one might have some challenges, you know, versus what they're doing now, because now they know how to do it.
So I'm not sure if when you said this, if I was back in yet, and if it was still recording only my audio or yours. What was the comment you said Sparky made?
Oh, I just said, Sparky said, "That's it. Gold necklaces and rings are expensive. Changing sets every few months hurts."
Yep.
And I said, "Yep, sure does."
Yep.
That's why I'm lazy.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is, especially with, and I've said it before, but I would really, really like to see them update the jewelry crafting system, because, man, having to get 10 pieces of a thing to make one is, yeah, it's a lot, and, you know.
And we're not even as crazy inflated as PC is. Like, the prices over there versus here are, it's nuts.
I know to get a single golden jewelry upgrade material, last time I looked was like 80K, I think, roughly. I mean, you might find anywhere from 65 to 100. But I think averages were somewhere in the ballpark of 80K for a single one. You need 4.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if Sparky's still here, I may ask him, just because I'm not up on it, but I don't know what that would cost right now on PC, but I know he sells stacks of our mats from Lore Seekers over there a lot on the trader.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy.
I don't like having to combine pieces to make those, and with it only, and it's only jewelry you have to do that with, or, well, I guess you do have to refine stuff, but it's just the scarcity of it is considerably more obnoxious to deal with. So trying to upgrade stuff on your own, it is very, you know, if you're somebody that doesn't have good ways of making money, or maybe you don't play enough to have the things to sell, or you're not part of a guild trade or whatever. You know, I know there are a lot of ways to make money, and somebody out there will say, "Oh, you're just lazy," or whatever. Not everybody plays them in a way that has them just flooded with gold, and it gets pretty expensive to do that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
anyway, whether or not it ever sees any change, I don't know. They mentioned way back that maybe they would look at it in the future, but so
Yeah, so are you ready to have your mind blown? Never? One
go.
chromium plate on PCNA is worth 320 to 350K. One.
Yeah,
Oh,
I told you. But also that's why you get rich over there.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what they
And
go
a
for
lot of
now,
that,
but
well, a lot of that
yeah,
too, I think, has to do with Tamriel Trade Center and through with the add-ons, you can directly see what's on all the guild
mm-hmm.
traders if it gets posted and updated.
right.
Whereas on PlayStation or on a lot of the consoles, it's a shot in the dark. You just travel to a trader, see what's there. Travel to the next trader, see what's there. Eventually, you get tired enough that you don't care and you just buy it because
Mm-hmm.
you're tired of it. Whereas you can kind of be a cheapskate if you want on PC in certain aspects because you can see it on TTC or on an add-on if it's there. So it lets you. The market's different.
Right.
Anyway, we're way off topic from PTS Cycle 5 info, but that's yeah. Basically, what it
One,
boils down to is we'll have to see what the PTS notes are for Cycle 5. But
yeah. It's one thing you threw in there that has me a little scared. Is the note about the class abilities. Note the focus of these adjustments will be on Magicka-based Nightblades, Wardens, and Sorcerers.
Ooh, yeah,
I'm
sorry,
like,
buddy, that's you, eh?
yeah, Magicka Warden. Like, I have no idea what it could be, but I've got a bad feeling about it.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
it's yeah, yeah. There's some of the ones that are hitting the hardest right now, which is probably part of the reasoning of that. It probably has to do with, I mean, you know how your shocks are.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, uh, you know, it's no joke, depending on how you've got your skills and all your stuff set up. And it's the same for Sorks. I mean, even pet Sork builds, it's like Magicka Sorks and Magicka-based Nightblades. Magicka-based Nightblade is one of the hardest ones to probably master, but once you get that rotation down, that's what all the bombers are in Cyrodiil and what all the bombers are in PvP because they wreck so hard. You can stack the skills and stuff so bad you can basically just stand on top of somebody and blow them up because everything procs at the same time. So that's
Haven't
probably what they're looking at.
haven't they kind of been a thing
Yeah.
for I don't know ever though?
Yeah, but it's really
Yeah.
bad now with Oaken Soul. Like,
Oh, gosh.
if you used to block, you might have a chance of surviving a bomb. But, yeah, pretty much not right now. So, it's always been a thing, but right now, due to some mythics and some other things, it is definitely a hard hitter. So, you just have to see.
Yep.
Well, that's that for the PTS stuff. And that's pretty much it for the news, actually.
Yeah. The only other thing we've got here was meet the character.
Yeah, but we're 123 in, so do you want to do it or you want to save it?
We can save it. We think there may be another one of these coming for a character with the other dungeon, possibly within the next week or so.
Yeah, usually, if it follows the same kind of thing that they've been doing in the past, they usually do a meet the character for one dungeon, and then like a couple weeks later, they follow with a meet the character from the other dungeon, just to have kind of a little bit of a look into um, the lore of the dungeons that are coming. But I'm not sure how these are set up. There was an ESO live on the dungeons, but I did not get to see it, and it was a while back. So it was when they first were talking combat changes. So I think it just kind of got lost in the shuffle of all the news that's going on currently with, the combat changes and whatnot. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can save it and do the other two back to back and do a lore heavy show one time if we want.
Yeah, maybe a light news week between now and then. Isn't that a magazine?
A news week, yes.
It's gonna be a light news week. They're gonna not have as many pages this time around, so yeah. Do it.
I did have one thing, but I have to find it first. Carry on. I'll find it.
Carry on. Listen, you're not my mama.
Okay.
I'm not your wayward son.
You are not.
Yeah.
It was a dad joke thing too. That's why it made me think of it. You'd be so proud.
Oh.
It's did you see it? The Bastion thing?
I did not.
In our chat? Oh, I gotta find it.
In our chat.
Where is it?
While you're looking for that, Sasquatch, I have a joke for you.
Good.
Do you like knock-knock jokes?
Oh no. I like.
I'm laughing already because I know where this is going.
Now, don't think.
I'm gonna mute because I won't make it through this.
Don't think. Okay? You just have to roll
I know
with
what it is.
You know what it is?
I know what it is.
How do you know what it is?
I saw it.
Did you see it?
I saw it.
I didn't think you saw it.
I saw it.
Oh, well.
I think you gotta wait for Gwen.
Okay.
I don't think she saw it.
I don't think she did, because I'm pretty sure she said in our chat that she definitely missed something. So
yes.
I didn't know you saw it, man. Well,
yeah.
That ruined that. Actually, there isn't really a knock-knock joke. All of this was just to fill time so that the crazy lady could find what she's looking for. Did you find it?
No, and it's gonna make me crazy because I know I
Too late.
Wait, I did. I found it.
See, we stalled just long enough.
Okay, so someone on Twitter posted this. They were playing Tales of Tribute with Bastion out, and apparently Bastion told a terrible joke. It says, a drunken Nord comes home carrying a duck. His wife says, "What have you got there?" The Nord says, "This is the dragon I told you about." The wife says, "That's a duck, you idiot." And the Nord says, "Quiet, you, I was talking to the duck."
Nice.
Yes.
And then, of course, the next thing he said 2 minutes later was, "Time can be invested, spent, or wasted, but however you use it, you never get it back." Okay, Bastion, you had cool points, but then you were...
That's nice.
Yeah. I've had Bastion out doing Tales of Tribute, and he says that when you just stand around for too long. And so he says that when you play a game of Tribute, because apparently to him you're just standing around doing nothing.
That's funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I hadn't... I thought I had my companion out. I don't recall hearing... I guess it was Ember. I don't recall hearing her say anything while I
You
was...
must not like cards.
Maybe not. Maybe not. She's too focused on catching bugs. But not fish. Alright. Well, stay tuned for a good joke next. Well, it won't even... Yeah.
No, it's going to be like 3 weeks probably,
Yeah.
she said.
Man, I'm going to have to come up with another joke between now and then. Oh well. Alright, well.
To the guild announcements.
Yeah. Speaking of fish, I was segueing. You didn't realize that, but Ember
Sure
doesn't
you
like
are.
the fish, but Moki does. And Moki likes for people to come along and fish. So on Mondays we have a fishing event. If you're a lore seeker, on PlayStation NA. It's not a cross-platform event. It could be if somebody else wants to host it. but on PlayStation NA, Moki hosts a fishing event where she just gathers everyone together and they pick a zone and they try to catch all of the fish and get the fishing achievement for the Master Angler. And that is 7:30 Eastern Time. I have to ask every week.
It starts at 8.
Yeah.
8 Eastern, but they group-ish around 7:30.
Yeah. I'm always at work during that time, so I don't get to participate. But I have seen good feedback from people saying it's just a good time, it's real chill. Fishing's not in game by any means, so anybody can do it. You don't have to be in the level requirements. Just come tag along, have some fun. Treacherous Tuesdays, it's kind of the dungeon run night or day. You can do it anytime really, but we encourage you to get together on that day with your fellow guildies and go run a dungeon. If you've got people that have never done it, do it in story mode. Run through it slow. Let everybody get the chance to experience the quest and the lore in the dungeon, and take time to explore. A lot of the new dungeons have hidden bosses, and some of those hidden boss fights are better than the fights that you have just from the main bosses even. So they're definitely worth taking the time to find those. And tabletop appreciation. I saw this, but I didn't actually get a chance to look at that.
That's okay. It was it was kind of going to segue into your Extra Life thing, because I figured you probably should start talking about that since it's like the first right now.
It kind of is the first, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
I will I will move that down to the end here. So Tabletop Appreciation weekend, August 19th through 21st.
Yep, that's for Extra Life specifically. So
right.
For Extra Life right now, if you join, they're doing a big focus on tabletop gaming at this point for the month, because I think August might be like tabletop month, but they're doing like a weekend. But also there is an incentive right now if you raise $80 before, and I have insert date because I could not find the post again.
I found it.
But I did you?
August 4th to 22nd.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Raised between the 4th and the 22nd. So
cool. So if you raise, I think it's $80, I want to say, between the 4th and the 22nd, then you get this really cool custom Extra Life dice tray, which is kind of a fun little thing. Last year they came out with actual dice as an incentive. The current incentive right now is this like limited edition puzzle, but I think they've had people claim almost all of those because I think they only made about 900 of them. But yeah, the incentive that's coming up is this really, really cool looking fun little snap dice tray. So it's a fun little thing if you're into tabletop gaming.
Very cool. Yeah, so I guess to self-plug, I'm not good at self-plugs because, I don't know.
I can plug for you if you want.
It's fine, I got it. I just don't ever think to do it. Yeah, August 16th, I am going to try to get several people together to do a stream. I'm not sure on the time yet. I'll have to work that day, I'm sure. So it'll be something I'll do when I get home. And I'm trying to see who all I can gather. Possibly even some folks within my own house. Maybe I'll try to get them to participate a little bit as well. But it's going to be, it's not going to be an ESO stream. It's actually another game called Tribes of Midgard. That is the launch date for Season 3. And with Season 3 in that game, the new updated survival mode is going to be releasing. And I haven't played the game since sometime during Season 1, Not because it's not a fun game to play. It's just so far back. You know, with other games I'm trying to play, especially with this one, it's just not a game I get to very often. But I thought, you know, our goal with Extra Life is doing what we can to support hospitals that are doing what they can to help kids survive. And with it being the launch of a new survival mode, kind of thought, you know, sort of plays together. And
See what you did there.
yeah, we will try to survive to help kids survive. But anyway, I'm thinking we'll have some people that haven't played that game before. So it'll be kind of a fun learning experience just to see, you know, how long we can go and just, you know, it's real laid back. It's not something that we're going to be like planning to go for X amount of hours, or we're going to be trying to kill X amount number of things, anything like that. We're going to jump in. There's some building components to it where you can kind of build your own structures, your own village, that kind of thing. So, you know, maybe we'll see, you know, how that goes. It's a new mechanic that they're adding in. The building stuff's in the game, but they're updating it. I have no idea how it's going to work yet. But anyway, I have a feeling I'll try to start either maybe 6 to 7 o'clock Central Time, so 7 to 8 Eastern, so that it won't be quite as late for everybody. It's hard for me to get on that early most of the time, but I'm going to try to make special arrangements, and like I said, maybe even have the folks in my house, you know, jump on, because the hospital that I'm supporting, it's Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the hospital that my daughter spent 2 months in. So I might try to have my daughter come on and hang out a little bit. Might even see if the wife wants to come on and chat with us some, but I haven't told her that yet. But we'll see. Anyway, but that's what I have planned, or loosely planned. Yeah, so I'll get more details out through my own social media, and then we'll share that stuff, I guess, on our Snugpod Twitter as well. So, yeah.
Keep an eye out.
What else you guys got? Anything? Speaking of social medias.
I think that's pretty much it, other than where you can find us.
Can we be found?
I sure hope so. The number one place you can find us is, of course, we are part of the Lore Seekers Guild on the PlayStation side of things. So you can find us at loreseekerseso.org. From there, you can put in an application if you would like to come play with us, or on any of the platforms that we have, because we do have NA and EU groups across almost all of the platforms. So you would apply at loreseekerseso.org, download Discord. From there, it's just a short, quick application just to make sure that you're hopefully a nice person that will mesh well with the awesome guilds that we have. And usually then an officer or one of the community managers gets back to you pretty quickly about getting in and getting an invite and all that stuff done. So you can join us that way, or you can also follow us on any of our social medias. We have our Twitter, which is at Snugpod Cast, and then of course right here where you are hanging out with us on twitch.tv/SnugPodcast, or on the YouTubes if you search for Snugpod Cast.
Yeah, and tell your grandparents to follow us so that we get enough followers that we can get a URL. Create accounts for your kids. I don't know, something.
I don't think they need more than one Gone Crazy Back Soon.
Gone Crazy Back Soon 1, Gone Crazy Back Soon 2. Gone Crazy Back Soon.
Came back. Gone
Crazy Back
Been
Sooner.
back. Gone Crazy Back Sooner.
Gone Crazier,
Gone Crazy
Back Never.
Soonest. Back Soonest. Goneth Crazieth. Backeth Sooneth. There's lots of things.
Yeah. Yeah, we just need to get to like something like 100 or something like that, and we get a URL, and
It's
we can quit
100.
saying you have to search for us. We can just tell you where it is. You know, so it's a small ask. Just create multiple accounts and just go follow us. It's fine. It's no big deal. You don't have to sign into those accounts once you click the follow thing, but just follow. It's all good. Also,
wanna...
go ahead.
Nope, you. It's all you. You do it. You. No, you. No, you.
Okay. If you would prefer to just listen to this in audio format while you're zooming down the road, or jogging across the interstate, whatever, then you can find us on podcast forums, our podcast apps like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. Probably, I'm assuming the majority of them. I don't really know how those things work. I know that ones that I did not sign up for find us because they show up in our analytics. And so I'm assuming that if you search for us in the majority of the big ones, you're probably going to find us. So you can find us on audio form that way. And if you're listening to this and you want to watch, well, that information's already been shared, so you can come check us out that way too. And then, if you're like older than 42 and use an email, then we probably have a way to reach out to us that way too, right?
That was very specific. And also... wrong.
I mean, dude. It was what?
Specific and inaccurate.
Oh.
Yes.
I
Moving
mean,
on. No.
I picked a number higher than all of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, let's not alienate our... Okay, anyway. My beeper's going off.
Oh, Sparky Bagman says, "Wow, I'm as old as dirt."
No, you're not, Sparky.
Old tech.
You
old
are
tech.
not.
It's all good. No, listen, email has its place. It's just one of those things. It's not as commonly used anymore. So,
I use it every day.
You are crazy though. So, I mean, do you get replies back? Are you emailing yourself? I mean, we don't really know these things. I mean, do you carry on conversations with yourself through email?
Just for that, I'm about to email our account right now. From my personal account. Every day I'm going to send us one email. It's me again.
Hello, self. Nice
Hello,
to see
self.
me.
Checking other account. What's this notification? Oh, it's just me.
Okay, so what's our email
Anyway.
address?
Snugpodcast@gmail.com.
That was a long time coming.
Yeah.
I don't think they could have figured it out if we didn't give it to them.
All right, I tell you what.
Yes, they could have. Yes, they could have.
Here's what's going to happen as an incentive to use our email, okay? If you send us feedback on the show, what you like, what you don't like, what you think we could do better, things you would like for us to discuss, any of those kind of things. If you send us feedback to our email, then from our Twitter account, because we probably don't know how to use our email because we're too young. I don't know.
I check our email all the time.
Anyway, I'm kidding. But just to make it more, well, okay, we won't make it that public. We'll just respond with email to prove we do know how to use email. You email us, and we will email you a crazy person's beeper number.
What? Sparky says, "Where do I send my letter?" Sparky, that's a lot of postage for you. I would never ask you to send us a letter all the way to Tamriel from England.
I tell you what, I'll answer that question for you. You take your letter, and you find a scanner, and you scan it in, and you send it to our email.
Oh.
Scanners are still a thing, right?
They are.
Yeah.
I'm acting like I'm too young to know about this
She
stuff.
said, "A what?"
Yeah.
Modern stuff. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So send us that email. Get that beeper number. Blow the crazy person up. So. Um,
No, that's already happened in Cyrodiil too many times. They do not need to be blown up anymore.
Okay, we will send you the location you can find her in Cyrodiil, so you can come and attack.
Wow. Stream sniping even. You're so kind. I just feel so much love whenever I'm sitting here next to you.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible cat.
It's okay.
I'll just go away now.
I still love you. No,
Yeah.
don't go away. Come back.
Hopefully by now everybody knows that it's all in good fun. I wouldn't say things like that if people thought I was being serious. If you think I'm being serious, well, I can't help that because clearly I'm being super serial. Yep. Well, I guess that wraps us up for the week. We're just rambling now, and I don't really know where we're going. And we've kind of gone off the rails, But
Perfect.
and never mind. I won't say that. That would not be nice. But yeah.
It's okay. I'm crazy. Go ahead.
Oh no, it wasn't going to be directed at you. It was going to be comment about other stuff. But anyway.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
So everyone that was here with us, Sparky, I'm not looking at. I'm guessing that's in Twitch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the Twitch chat because I have the YouTube thing pulled up. But and if there's anybody else there, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one. And you can look for this in audio form. Hopefully by Wednesday is usually when I try to get these things out. But until next time, everyone, have a lovely week, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.